All right, guys. Welcome back to the Let's Talk Ball pod. This is going to be episode 44, or not 24, episode 44, and we're going to be reacting to game week 22 of the Premier League. But before we jump into that, I'm your host, Tochi, aka Toch Talks Ball, and I am joined by always as my good friend and co-host, Spain. We are two footy lovers. I'm a United fan. He's an Arsenal fan, but we will talk about any and everything football on this pod if you've never joined us before. And if you have joined us before, thank you for listening once again. As always, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Give us any feedback on the pod and join the discussion in the comments. We would really appreciate that. But before we jump into any of the topics for today, Spain, how are you doing?
Doing well. Arsenal had a good win in the Champions League yesterday. Makes it 7 wins out of 7. So feeling a little bit better now after watching us have a 0-0 draw against Force over the weekend. How are you?
Nice. Doing well over here as well. Had a bit of a stomach bug on earlier this week, but that cannot overshadow the big Manchester Derby win, which I'm sure we will get into later in this pod. But I won't jump ahead too much. Just to give you guys a rundown of what we like to do here. We always like to start with a little brief intro and then move into our reactions to game week 22. And we do that by giving our game week awards, which is our winners of the week, losers of the week, talk about what the match of the week was, goal of the week, that kind of stuff. Talk about Fraud Watch, where we talk about any teams or players that might be needing to be questioned, things like that. So we'll start with that, and then we'll go into some deeper dives on United and Arsenal that week, and then we usually end it with anything miscellaneous that feels top of mind, whether it is FPL. This week we've got Arsenal versus United coming up, so we'll do an Arsenal versus United preview at the end of this. But yeah, that's usually how we do it. Let's see. Anything you want to add to the intro before we jump into our Game Week 22 awards?
Now I'm just really excited to talk about Arsenal versus United this weekend. Haven't been this excited for this match in a while. I feel like it comes at a really interesting time. Came off a 0-0 draw. United have a new manager in, coming off of a huge win against City. So yes, looking forward to talking about that later and looking forward to watching that this weekend.
Yep. Yeah, same here. Well, we will get to that eventually. But let's start with our Game Week 22 awards. Everyone was obviously in action over this past weekend. Not the craziest games we've ever seen, but we will start from the top. Let's talk about winners of the week.
You take it because we all know who the winner of the week is, so you can kick us off.
Yeah. I will start. Perhaps I'm biased, but I'm going to have to give this to United. I think just given the context of where the club was at, the kind of madness of Amarim going, and then us getting an interim in finally, and the expectations for this game being somewhat low, I think it was a great response by United because, as we'll talk about later, I think that was one of the best performances I've seen from them in a while. So I think they're winners of the week for me. One, because it was a massive 3 points that we needed. And then all the other teams around the top 5 also dropped points. And then on top of that, it gave us a little bit of hope for the second half of the season when some fans were getting ready to write the season off and call it a wash. So that's why I've got them as my winners.
Yep, that's a good one, and rightfully so. My winners of the week are the bottom 5 teams because they actually picked up more points over the weekend than the top 5 teams did. I'm sure that does not happen very often. I'm sure it's happened at some point, but in the history of the league, but I'm sure it almost never happens. But the bottom 5 teams have looked really good really good over the weekend, or at least better than the bottom 5. And I think it's just a testament to the strength of the league. Everyone knows anyone can be anyone in the Premier League, and never more so than this year. It's been really tough for a lot of teams. Everyone's dropping points. Arsenal's had 2 goalless draws in a row, and it's just a really tough league this year. The 3 promoted teams are picking up points left and right, getting big wins here and there. So yeah, makes the league exciting in a sense, but also I guess teams are sitting in a lot more. So in the other sense, is not as exciting like in case of this past weekend where the goals were down.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I was going to say something very similar to you where I feel like that's just kind of I think the perfect representation of what this year's league looks like as far as just I feel like everyone's struggling to beat everyone and anyone can beat anyone on any given week, which, like you said, shows the strength of the league. There's not that much disparity from top to bottom, it seems like this season. I mean, even if you look at like the top 2 to 5, 6 teams, Arsenal have only lost twice, but then if you look at that, Manchester City have lost 5 games, Aston Villa have lost 5, Liverpool have lost 6, United have lost 5, Chelsea have lost 6. So like, it seems like a lot of teams are losing games. There's a lot of draws going on. Just not a whole lot of. There's not a whole. It's not as top heavy as we've seen over the last few years.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, and like the middle pack from like 14th to 5th is like really tight. I know. I'm not sure what it is at the moment, but
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, it's just a tight league this year.
It is. It is. We're starting to see just a little bit more separation than we have, but it's still super tight, and it feels like anything could happen with one team picking up a key injury or one team picking up form or something like that. It's really hard to call how this year is going to shape out. So we'll
Hmm.
see.
Hmm.
Let's move on to the loser of the week. What do you got for me here?
Going off of what I previously said with the lack of goals, I'll go with the viewers over the weekend just because I felt like the games weren't very excited. It was 0-0 for, I think Sunday was a really, really tough day because Newcastle, whoever they played was 0-0. And then the Everton Villa was like 1-0. Let me
Yeah.
look up the games and make sure I just got those right on Sunday.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Wolves, Newcastle 0-0, Everton, Villa 1-0. So just a really lackluster day, and just goals were down in general.
Yep. Yeah, I gotta agree. I feel like I don't know if it's like a play style thing or if it's like I guess the strength of like tactics versus tactics. Like there's just less margins in the game or something like that. But it definitely seems like the goals are a bit down and like the open play fluidity and stuff like that. It seems like it's almost like you're almost very reliant on set pieces and like stuff like that to really get your goals in because it's hard to create from open play against a lot of teams in the league right now.
Yeah, I think teams are really sitting back and not willing to take risk because they figure they'll either try and get like a really good high XG chance, or they'll try and get a chance from a set piece, like you said. So I think games aren't open because teams are really sitting in. And I think that's where I really see it against Arsenal, which makes it kind of tougher for us to get results, not as fun of games that we play. But I think a lot of it is
Hmm.
teams sitting in and not willing to take risk.
Yeah.
And that's what made the Manchester Derby so much fun was that it was so open, which has
Yeah.
been this just hasn't been like that this year across the board.
Yep. Yep. I can get behind that. And I mean, I could talk about this for a long time, but I won't go too deeply into it. But it feels like there has almost been, well, I was going to say there's a tactical shift at the beginning of the season. I was saying there's a tactical shift to being more direct and playing, trying to force more transitions. But I do agree that teams are sitting deeper. Like, I feel like there was this whole gimmick where everyone wanted to play like Manchester City and like press high and do all that. But I think it's just kind of, I don't know if teams are adapting to that and not willing to press high anymore or what's
Hmm.
going on. But it's definitely making for some more boring games.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. I mean, I'm no tactician and haven't been watching the tactics that closely, but I don't really see teams pressing high.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like you've got your, I'd say like Bournemouth, Brighton's maybe, City, Arsenal, but other than that, like I feel like some teams are like way more content with sitting back. United was pressing high under Emery. I don't know if we'll do that under Carrick. It looks like we didn't do that as much. I mean, we did in moments versus City, but I don't know. I guess it's too early to tell. We'll see.
Hmm.
We'll see.
Hmm.
Other loser of the week we've got here is Thomas Frank. I mean, that is just a brutal result for Tottenham versus West Ham. Tottenham at
Yep.
home lose 2-1 to West Ham. And that was to a 93rd minute goal to Callum Wilson. I I keep going back and forth where I feel for Thomas Frank, but at the same time, he's not doing himself any favors, and that's just regardless of what you think or how it happened, that's just a bad result for him, and he's got to take that L on the chest.
Yeah, he he can't have much time left, right?
I don't know what to think. I really don't. Like I don't know who they go get. That I mean, not that he's. I need to watch more of them because I don't know if it is that Thomas Frank is just so poor with them, or if it's just more of like a squad issue for them, and they just haven't recruited well, and they're suffering from that. I
Hmm.
just don't really know what the issue is. I would have to talk to a Spurs fan that plays a little bit more close attention to them because I've always thought of Thomas Frank as a top manager, maybe not one of the elites, but I've always like had a lot of respect for him as a manager. And so I guess maybe it's me and the bias that I have towards him that doesn't want to like pin all of it on him, but the vibes are pretty poor there. Yet I say that, but they're also sitting top 4 in the Champions League right now. So like they still have a good Champions League campaign going right now. So who knows?
Are they really well?
I'm pretty sure. I have to double check that, but there's like I think five or
They're
six
fifth.
Premier League
They're
teams.
fifth right now.
Fifth? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they were fourth until maybe one of the results changed. But yeah. So maybe it was Chelsea won or
Liverpool went ahead of them. Bayern went ahead of them because they had played one less game coming into today, I believe.
gotcha. Gotcha. Nice. Well, we'll see. Spurs have a little bit of a mixed bag season. I don't see them doing anything too meaningful in the Champions League, regardless. Like even if they were to make the knockout rounds and whatnot. But I don't know. That's one to monitor. One to
Hmm.
monitor for sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Premier League teams, all one, two, all four of the, all five of the Premier League teams are in the top eight of the Champions League, except for
Man
City. Five of
City.
the six, City are
Yeah.
in 11th. But still, that's super impressive for the league.
Yeah. Very good news for someone like United, who I'm just happy if we can get top 5. If we can get top 5, that is Champions League due to the Champions League coefficient and how that works out. So I'm
Hmm.
really rooting for the Champions League teams or the Premier League teams in the Champions League right now.
Nice, yeah, looking good for you.
All right. Match of the week. We kind of already talked about this, but Manchester Derby, just
Yep.
because it was the most, I would say, entertaining in terms of just open transitions, exciting moments. It was a big match, obviously a rivalry match and whatnot. So that has to be the match of the week. Every other match I thought was somewhat boring. Crystal Palace Sunderland was a fun one, but I'd still give the edge to the Manchester guys.
Definitely. Don't have anything else to say there. We talked about it a good bit, and we'll talk about it more in a bit.
Nice. I see you've got a moment of the week here. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, we got a performance of the week, but I thought the moment of the week was just Kobe Mainoo's performance. And I thought
Yeah.
that it encapsulated down to one moment in the game that really wowed me was when he received the ball in his own like third, almost the middle
Hmm.
third, and Semenyo was closing him down, did a like shoulder shimmy and blew by him and completely blew open the city press, broke down the city press,
Hmm.
and like had the entire field to play into.
Yeah.
I mean, just all the talk about free Kobe, free Manu, free Kobe, Kobe during the season, him not performing, him not getting minutes, and then to come into this game, first game under Carrick, massive stage, and for him to have the performance he did, and to show what he can bring to the team. I thought in that moment really just kind of showed what he can bring and his
Hmm.
talent and what he does on the ball. He looked like he was having a great time out there. The pictures after the game of him in the tunnel with his shirt off next to Carrick was
Hmm.
super cold. I
Yeah.
thought it was like a big moment for him.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I mean, I think that's a great shout for multiple reasons. Like you said, there's the whole story behind that. I actually meant to record a video on that today. So maybe I'll do that after this, but meant to talk about Kobe Manu and his performance. Like you said, that turn was like just its signature Kobe Manu, the way that he did that. It may not look too crazy. It's not a crazy skill move, but just like, I don't know if it's like a little shimmy of the shoulders or just a little deception, then he's gone just like that. And I like that it
It
also
definitely,
came.
sorry, it
Uh-huh.
definitely like got me kind of out of my seat. I was like, whoa, I definitely,
Yeah,
I was impressed by it. So,
yeah, exactly. And I also liked that it came on the end of, it was like a lot of one touch passing between United that even led to that because we actually had the ball in City's half. it got one touch all the way back to our half, and then Maguire plays it to Kobe Manu, who's under pressure, and just leaves Semenyo in the dust, and then that breaks open. And unfortunately, we didn't get a goal to show for it, but that was like probably our best bit of build up in the match. And I am really happy just to see Kobe Manu back in the team playing regularly. I mean, it is crazy to think that that was his first start in the Premier League all season.
Wow.
Only his third start of the season in general, but his first start in the league all season, which is crazy. But I'm all here for the Kobe Manu resurgence, and I did love that post that he had afterwards as well. He said, "Believe that," and I'm definitely a Kobe Manu believer.
On Monday, my buddy Alex, a big Arsenal fan, I was looking at that picture and I guess saw it for the first time. He's like, "Oh, Copy's tatted up," and then he was looking
Yeah,
closer and he realized that one of the tattoo artists that did like a chest piece for him, Alex has the same artist did as a calf piece for him or a thigh piece for him.
nice. That's sick.
Yeah, pretty cool that they both went to the same tattoo artist.
Nice. That's a
So
fun little tidbit.
they're related in some fashion.
Yeah, tattoo Eskimo Bros or something.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. Yeah.
That's funny. All right. We'll talk more about Kobe Manu later in that United performance, but let's move on to the goal or goals of the week. What do you got for me here?
Mine was the last goal of the week, the Costulas overhead kick for Brighton. It was late. He drew the game for them. He's only 18 years old, new to the club. But yeah, the ball was coming to him. I think it bounced and he chested it up with his back
Hmm.
facing the goal, did an overhead kick. In the post game interview, I can't remember who he was with, but some other Brighton player. But he's like, yeah, I'm not surprised at all. He does it all the time in training.
That's
He
awesome.
specifically trains that finish a lot.
Yeah,
So it was
that's
a moment
awesome.
for him, but it was a great goal, great finish.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I loved
Hmm.
seeing that goal from him as well. Brighton do very well in their recruitment, and whenever they actually got him, I follow some people that are pretty big into kind of recruitment online on Twitter, and a lot of people were raving about this kid and talking about how good of a pickup this is, even on the standards of Brighton. So maybe he's one to watch out for a little bit more as things develop. I think it's hard for him to get game time right now with Danny Welbeck was playing really well for the last few months, and then I think Reuter has been playing a lot of minutes, but he's definitely one to watch out for, especially if he's got finishes like that in his locker.
Yep, yep. Do you have any goals of the week?
Um, I could go with either of these two that we've got here. I'll take the Brian Broby goal. I loved seeing that one. I think he is someone that's having a very, very underrated season for Sunderland. I think he's been really, really good, and he's been a part of some really, really big moments for them this season. One of the ones that I can remember off the top of my head is his hold up play for the win. I think it was a winner against Chelsea, or either a late goal to tie it against Chelsea earlier in the season.
Hmm.
It was the one where I thought it was actually maybe one of our funny moments of the week when it was like Chalaba and somebody else was just not doing anything to like affect him at the
Oh
end of the
yeah, yeah,
game.
yeah.
And then he's got another couple goals that have just been super important for Sunderland, and he did it again. And he's just like such a brolic, like huge figure out there, and I just love the way that he plays. But then he's got like a great finish, like he had against Crystal Palace in his locker as well. So I just
Hmm.
wanted to give him a shout out for that goal.
Yeah, it was a lot nice. Like he kind of shinned it, even though it looked like kind of was outside the foot. But bar down, game winner late in the game. Then immediately had a cramp and had to go down with the cramp. The whole team running over, laughing at him,
Yeah.
helping to stretch it out. It was a good moment.
Yeah, it was a great moment. And just kind of an instinctual finish. Like I love those where it's like
Hmm.
not super orthodox, not some like super fundamental technique, but it was just get the ball in the back of the net.
Yep. Then I wanted to shout out Tiano Barry's goal. I thought that was also a very instinctual, nice finish.
Yep.
Funny moment because Martinez did a terrible job with I think it was McNeil's shot. I think Martinez thought he could catch it, couldn't
Yep.
catch it, fell to Barry, and it was like underneath him. And Barry scooped it super high,
Yep.
but incredible finish by him. So shout
Yeah.
out to Tiano Barry with that nice finish.
Yep, that's another player I've been liking a lot of. Like, I feel like he was struggling to score some goals at the beginning of the season, but every time I see him score, it just makes me happy because you
Hmm.
can tell how badly he cares and how much he wants to score. So,
Yep.
yeah, definitely deserves credit for that finish. Like, definitely a little bit of a comedy of errors that led to him even getting the ball in that position, but he had a lot to do once it got to him, and he finished well. So, good for
Hmm.
him. And
Hmm.
I'm also I mean, I'll touch on it a little bit later, but I'm a Villa hater right now, so that was really, really good to see for me.
Yeah, I am too. So I'm with you on that.
Nice. Now let's talk performances of the week. I'll take this one for
Mhm.
me. It's got to be Bruno Fernandes in this match versus Manchester City. Let me see if I can pull up his stats here. But this is he came back, played in the 10 under Carrick, and he looked amazing. It's the perfect role for him. He created 6 chances, 4 big chances, which is the most that any player has created against Pep in a single game in the Premier League era, or I guess in
Wow.
the whole Pep era. And then let's see, he had 14 defensive contributions as the number 10 still. And I felt like we weren't doing too much. I mean, we were defending deep a little bit, so I guess that makes sense. But still, the fact that like people were worried about his defensive contributions going down with him playing a more advanced role, and he still hit 14 in this match was impressive. He had the assist to Mbumo for the first goal for United, which I thought was impressive. He picked up the ball around the halfway line, and his actions on that goal didn't look too crazy to the naked eye, but if you watch him, he definitely does well to lead the break there, get Kosanov off balance a little bit, and buy Mbumo a little bit extra time for the finish. Also puts a perfectly weighted ball in so that Mbumo can kind of hit it first time. And then he had an offside goal disallowed that I thought was extremely impressive. That was only offside by like it was like maybe like the front part of his knee, like it was definitely very close, or else he could have had a goal in that one as well. I'm trying to think what else that I might be missing, but overall, it was just a really great performance from the 10. One of the best performances I've seen in a long time from a player, and I think it put a lot of people on notice. I don't know if there was just a lot of eyes on this match, even though it was an early kickoff, but the response I've seen online, not just from United fans, but from like rival fans and other people talking about that Bruno performance has been, I don't know. I've enjoyed seeing it because I feel like he's a player that gets a lot of hate for being a rat and being this and being that. But I saw a lot of people being like, all right, this guy is definitely like world class at this point. Like, you got to give him his credit. So I enjoyed seeing that performance from him in the Derby.
Hmm. I've never been a big Bruno fan because he's played for United. Never really liked his personality on the field and whatnot. But yeah, he balled out. He was incredible. He also, I think, one thing you didn't mention that I remembered, he had one really sick crossfield ball. Someone played it
Yeah,
a
you're
little too
right.
short. It was like underneath him. I thought he was gonna take a touch to like get it out from underneath him, but he kind of like chopped under it, and it was just a sick ball diagonal into
I think it was looking like it was going to
Dorgu.
Mbumo, and then Mbumo left it to Dorgu, who got a shot on the back post.
Yeah, it might have been it, but it was just like a really good ball, and the way he hit it, and it was like underneath him, sweet ball.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was incredible. That's exactly what you want him to be in that role as the 10. Like, and there's almost no one better to lead a counter attack than Bruno. He looked like a point
Hmm.
guard out there to me, like leading a fast
Yeah.
break. Like he picks up the ball and Bruno runs around him, so Bruno can be in the middle, sees all the passing options on either side.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was incredible.
Yeah. It looked like
I
a textbook 3-on-2 weave drill that we used to do back in the day.
Exactly what I was
Yeah.
thinking in that moment. And he does a little bit to make Kusanov to commit, like you said, and then just
Hmm.
lays us off perfectly for a first time finish from him. I was really impressed with his play throughout the game
Yeah.
and on that break.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's right. I like that you called out that cross as well because that was pretty nuts. It was like a first time like ball kind of underneath him, and like in any situation, you expect the player to kind of take a touch and like figure out where they want to hit it. But he hits
Hmm.
it first time, and like any player that hits that first time, you're thinking, oh, maybe that's a little bit speculative, but like it almost landed in like the perfect spot. It's just like the quality to be able to see that, pick it out, and also execute it was
Hmm.
really, really good.
Exactly.
And then I had another honorable mention. I didn't know if I wanted to put him as the unsung hero or the just straight up performance of the week category, but I wanted to give a shout out to James Garner. I watched that Aston Villa Everton game pretty closely, and that guy was everywhere. I was really, really impressed with what I saw from James Garner. He was just at like every time someone in Everton's midfield made a tackle, it was him. It just like I don't know how he ended up being everywhere he was. He had 29 defensive contributions in that game, which is just absolutely nuts. I feel like that's got to be the record for most defensive contributions in a game this season. If not, I don't know how long for like a single player. But absolutely nuts stat from him. But also he contributes on the ball. He had 5 out of 7 accurate long balls. He's really got that like switch of play on lock. And I just thought he looked like a really, really good midfielder. After I watched that game, I was like, this guy, not a baby Elliot Anderson, because Elliot Anderson is younger than him, but he definitely looked
Smaller.
like if we miss out on Elliot Anderson, I would happily sign James Garner for a cut price of that, because I think he's got a lot of the same benefits as far as like decent on the ball, defensive workhorse, but like still has quality going forward. So I'll take that.
Yeah, I think United's kind of missing a central midfielder, a British central midfielder that just kind of like knits the play together and wins the ball, a la Michael Carrick, and you guys haven't had that in a while. So I think that would kind of just bring back a little bit more that United identity, having that English center mid, that
Yeah.
not the flashy one, but the one that gets the job done.
Yeah. Yeah. So I hope it's Elliot Anderson, but it sounds like he's being heavily linked to Manchester City, which sucks because I know that they're going to need him. It sounds like it
Oh
looks like
man,
Rodri looks a little bit washed right now based on that
yeah,
injury. I mean, who knows? Maybe he'll recover. Maybe he's still recovering from that ACL, but
yeah. He just passed
I'm
his prime.
thinking, yeah, I'm thinking Elliot Anderson is going to end up at City, and if that happens, I'm totally happy with James Garner coming to United, or I say coming to United, coming back to United. He is a Carrington grad, so it would be a full circle moment for him to come back to the club as well.
Very nice.
All right. Surprise of the week, I had here Manchester Derby and with a question mark because I don't think anyone expected us to put on that type of performance. I think I always had an
Uh,
expectation that we could get something from the game, but not in that manner. Not to like, I mean, it was, it felt like it wasn't even close. So
it
that was
wasn't. I
my
mean,
surprise of the week.
you guys destroyed them. I'd definitely say that was my surprise. Coming from a non-United fan, I was definitely surprised by that. I was not expecting you guys to demolish Shitty like you did because it was just a
Yeah.
beatdown.
Yeah. Yep. And then Fraud Watch. I've saved this spot for Villa. Um, I know it's convenient to say it after they lose 1-0 to Everton and not after some of their other recent results, where that maybe have been more favorable. But I don't care what you say. I watch this team and I just don't think they're as good as what the table shows. I cannot get past that. Villa fans have been in my comments. My YouTube video is still getting comments and views and stuff like that. And Villa fans are still in there calling me stupid, calling me this, calling me that. So I was kind of like apathetic to Aston Villa last season. Like I kind of thought they were frauds, but I didn't really have any like ill will towards them in my heart. But after this season, like I would love to see their downfall. So I think they got lucky to get some results and it set them up with a good platform. But I think everyone's talking about how they have a soft schedule right now coming up. I think they're going to drop more points than people maybe expect from them given their schedule coming up. So just something to watch out for.
Hey, I'm all on board with that. Villa have been a pest to Arsenal in the past few years. There's always a bit of a, I wouldn't say a rivalry, but the game's always heated because they always come out to play. They're always super physical and try to beat us that way. My hot take earlier in the season didn't pan out, but I've had an anti-Villa agenda as well for a lot of the season, saying they're not as good as they have been, as the results say. So maybe I was just
Yeah.
too early and on that hot take, and you all finish above them at the end of the season.
Yeah, I hope so. Hopefully, it's not the kiss of death there. But
Yeah,
um, Villa, they to give them their credit, they had 1.44 xG compared to Everton's 0.51 and ended up losing 1-0. But that's what happens. You get a little bit of regression. You come out on the wrong side of the variance for once. So
hmm
just watch out for that, guys. All of you guys that have been talking to me, chatting at me in my comments, just let's just what did Holland say? Be humble to Arteta.
yeah, yeah. Be
Yeah,
humble.
All right. I think that wraps up our Game Week 22 awards, though. Anything else you wanted to talk about here before we go into our deep dives?
Nah, nothing else here.
All right. Did you want to start with the Manchester Derby or Arsenal for our deep dives here?
Maybe start with Arsenal since we've talked a lot about United already, just to break it up a little.
Yeah. Yeah. That works for
Cool.
me. I was thinking the same thing.
Yep. Yeah, so Arsenal drew 0-0 against Nottingham Forest. Not the result we wanted. Back-to-back 0-0s for Arsenal. First time that's happened in a long time. I can't remember what the stat was, but a long time since that happened. In terms of team selection, Saka was rested again with Madueke starting. I forget the last game that was, but it wasn't that many games ago in the Premier League where Saka was
Mm-hmm.
rested. Martinelli also started on the left over Trossard. Right, White was at right back, and then Timber at left back. That's just
Mm-hmm.
with Calafiori out and Arteta not trusting Miles Lewis-Skelly or Nkapie. Now, I'm not going to say it's a fall off for Miles Lewis-Skelly, but his performance has not been up to par, but he's definitely just not being selected this year. So Arteta's seen something there where the trust just isn't there at the moment. Even though he
Yeah.
did start the Champions League against Inter and looked pretty good from what I saw yesterday. But knowing that Forrest would sit back and under Son Dyche, I was a little bummed to see us go with Saka or go with Martinelli and Madueke and rest Trossard and Saka because we knew they were going to sit back and Martinelli and Madueke are better in space on the counter. So I'm assuming Arteta knows that as well and was doing it just for rest purposes. I guess I'm not surprised Saka was rested because he played the full 90 against Chelsea in the midweek in the Cup semifinal. But it just wasn't the right lineup. But I would have to say that it's because Arteta just knew Saka needs a rest and didn't want to risk him. Just because I
Mm-hmm.
just feel like that's definitely not the right lineup to put out with the tactics that Forest were going to play. I mean, we looked so much better when Saka, Trossard, and Jesus came in to replace our front three of Gyökeres,
Yeah.
Martinelli, and Madueke.
Yeah.
But that's team selection. In terms of Matt's summary, not too much happened in the first half. Martinelli missed a sitter. The ball came to him, and he went to hit with his left foot and just kind of missed the goal completely. It looked like it
Yep.
kind of hit on the backside of his foot. Sells was beaten. It was just bad miss on Martinelli. And then there was another chance for Gyökeres in the 40. It was like a long ball clearance, and Murillo just missed his clearance, and Gyökeres was able to get in behind and just couldn't separate from him.
Yeah.
You saw Madueke or Gyökeres get onto the ball and get past Murillo, but Murillo was able to stick with them and get a
Yeah.
block in. Ideally, Gyökeres is able to get away from him, but I think he's just a little too heavy right now and not quick enough to get away. I think
Yeah.
Murillo's pretty quick too. Like Murillo's like
He
a
is
bulky dude,
deceptively quick.
but yeah, exactly, deceptively quick. So I'm not like that upset with Gyökeres. Obviously, I'd like to see him be able to get in front of him, but Murillo's quick and super strong, so he did a good job covering
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. I
And
agree.
then
I thought that
was
was a
it?
heck of a play.
Mhm. And then the 57th minute, like I said, Saka, Trossard, and Jesus came on to swap out the front three and we looked a lot better there. Or we looked better, not a lot better. But Sells made an incredible save on the 65th minute off a Saka header. Don't know how Sells got there. It was almost like beat him, kind of a lofted header. And
Mm-hmm.
Sells stretched out with his fingertips, tipped it around around the post. So incredible save by Sells there. And then we had a potential handball in the 80th minute by Olo Aina. I can see why it wasn't given. The ball was basically going out of bounds, but I mean, Aina did kind of swipe the ball
Oh yeah.
with his forearm. If it was near the box or like some like in the middle of the box and one of our attackers was there, I think it's definitely a pin. But I just think based off where it happened, it wasn't given. I'm
Mm-hmm.
fine with that, honestly. I would hate that to be given against us, but I think letter of the law, that's still a penalty. But I'm not gonna say we were like hard done by or anything there. And then just performance thoughts, we had 2.1 xG to 0.34 in our favor. Force had 0 shots on target. We had 3 shots on target. So pretty good xG from us, just not many shots on target. We basically kept Force from hardly doing anything. They maybe had like one decent chance. But I mean, teams just really sit deep against us and make it hard for us to play against them and break them down. With that being said, we still should find a way to score goals and get better chances. But I just think we didn't have the right team starting the game for us for whatever reason, whether it was rest or Arteta just picked the wrong players. But we're just having a hard time scoring goals in the Premier League when teams sit back and we don't have like the right players in to break down these teams. Like Trossard, especially, who's a finisher, and Slaka, who's better at creating chances than Madueke is.
Yeah.
That's like basically a summary and my thoughts on the game. I mean, I don't really have too many thoughts on specific player performances, just 'cause I thought the game just wasn't really that exciting. I really think it just comes down to teams sitting deep and us not breaking them down.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what Sean Dyche can do. He can kind of set up a team to not really be scored against and make it hard for them. I think you guys did a decent job. Like I was like watching a good bit of that match. I missed some pieces of it, but from what I saw, I think you guys had chances. Like you had four big chances in this match. I think there was a big one from Gabriel Jesus in the second half. I can't remember exactly what happened.
Yeah,
I think it was like off
it's like a flick on or something.
yeah, something like that. But other than that, I mean, I don't really have too many takeaways from the game either. It does seem like it was just kind of like a game where Arteta figured like we got to get our rest in somewhere, especially with the Champions League games going
Mm-hmm.
on this midweek and having just played a bunch. You guys had that one extra match than everybody else because of the Carabao Cup
Yep.
versus Chelsea. And so, I mean, I guess I get it as far as like resting who you had to rest. And it did look like he tried to get some different personnel on as soon as he could. Trossard came on for Martinelli at half. And then you guys made subs around the 57th minute to try and, make a difference there. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's too much to take away from this. I mean, not in this game, but it seems like Gyökeres is getting back into scoring form-ish, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, goal against Inter. I mean, we're
Yeah.
scoring tons of goals in the Champions League, but I think it's just a different type of game in the Champions League against other European teams. They're not going to sit back as much. They're going to go at you, try to score goals, try and beat you. Whereas in the Prem, teams are going to sit back. So that's where we're having so much more success in the Champions League, scoring tons of goals and winning 7 out of 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, like you said, we had to get our rest in somewhere. Forest, I've thought Arteta's thought, yeah, we can get a draw at least pretty comfortably here. So, got to choose your battles. With the league being as tough as the league is this year, none of the other team. I know we still extended our lead this week by taking a draw
Yeah.
over City. So I guess it's a win at the end of the weekend.
Yeah.
So big picture, I'm still feeling good. We're still 7 points clear. I think we're going to win the league. I think we're going to win at least 2 trophies this year. And hey, the quadruple's still on for us. So I think it's
Yeah.
all about squad management, managing this long season, rotating when we need to rotate. We got a deep squad, so I think things are going in the right direction. I mean, if Martinelli puts away that sitter, we win 1-0, and no one's talking. It's a different conversation, but it is what it is. And take the draw, extend the lead by 1 point over City to 7, and move on.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking at the table right now and the fact that like you're still 7 points clear and City look like they're really wobbling. I mean, I guess they'll be able to play with Marguehi in the league again. We'll see how much of an impact he can make on his own. But I think their real issue, I mean, maybe we'll talk a little bit more about this when I talk about United versus City, but I think their real issue right now has to be like almost their midfield. Like I just don't
Totally.
understand who their midfield. Like they've got no cover for their defense in their midfield. Like yes, they've got their youngsters there, but their youngsters making mistakes. But they also have like no screening in front of them. Rodri just is not the same at covering ground. And then Nico Gonzalez was supposed to come in and be help there, but I think he's also got an injury that's kept him out right now in the short to medium term. And like who else can really fulfill that role for them? Doesn't really look like they've got a replacement. So I'm not too worried about City hawking you guys down for now, but we shall see.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I can't see them putting in a string of like 5 wins in a row together because of their personnel. This can be a transition to the United game. But yeah, I mean, they're crying out for Elliot Anderson. So I think I didn't know they were linked to him, but if he wants to go there, they're going to go buy him for sure because that's what City do. They go out, get the player they want, they need. And Elliot
Hmm.
Anderson is a definite need. Because and their back line is like Kusanov looked so bad. He just looks
Yeah.
so looks like he lacks so much confidence. He's not good on the ball. He's not that quick or athletic. He's not that strong. He just looked really, really weak against you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the other center back is Max
Elaine,
Elaine or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
they had to call him back from a
And
loan, I think.
yeah, they called him back from the loan from like I forget what league he was playing in, but yeah, it's looking bleak for them. Like I said, they got Mark Gay coming in, so hopefully he can provide a little bit of leadership in the back. He'll bring a little bit more on the ball, definitely more defensive awareness and more experience. So like maybe being able to organize the team a little bit back there. But yeah, we'll see how they progress. I'm sure Pep is Pep. He'll probably figure it out a little bit, but this reminds me a little bit of the fact that City went on and lost to who was it, Bodo Glint in the
Yeah,
Champions League yesterday as well.
3-1.
It reminds me of I think it was last year as well where
Mm-hmm.
we beat them and then they go on this just like terrible run of form. Um, I don't due to like just I guess lack of confidence and like all this. I don't know if we're the team that either catches them at the perfect time or if losing to us just is so frustrating that they spiral and like lose like their head or something like that. But looks like that could be happening once again to City. So we'll see how they respond this weekend. They've got a very tough matchup versus Wolves next. So we'll see.
Yeah, yeah. Got some
One of the
FPL
most
implications
formed
there.
teams. Yeah, I don't even know what to do with them. I'm tripled up on City. I don't know if I want any
Same,
of them.
same.
Logan's quadrupled up on City, and I was like, I was asking him why he didn't make some transfers last week. Because like I got 4 City players. I was like, honestly, get rid of all of
Yeah.
them.
So yeah,
Oh,
we'll talk about the Manchester Derby, which we have a good bit already.
yeah, yeah. We've talked about it a good bit, so I won't go into all the details too much. But one thing that I thought was interesting, obviously, the storyline coming into the match is this is Michael Carrick's first game in charge as the interim manager of Manchester United. All eyes are on him to see, what can he do? Was this the right decision by Manchester United? A lot of fans are very, very disappointed in the decision to get rid of Ruben Amorim, and that created a whole lot of controversy. It created so much controversy that one of the most notable fan groups, I think it's the 1958 group, has been organized a protest for the Fulham match. Um, in response to that to try and get the Glazers and Ineos out of in charge of Manchester United. So there was a lot of pressure on this decision for the higher ups to get this decision right. And they could not have had a better start to that decision with that 2-0 win versus City. And Michael Carrick being the man in charge. Just for a little bit of context, Michael Carrick, as in the last time he was the caretaker manager of United, I think it was post Ole. He came in and he won 3 games in a row for United, so that makes it 4. He's got 4 wins out of 4 as the manager of Manchester United. So the first game he came in charge of was Villarreal. He had a few days to prep for one of our biggest Champions League matches of the season, won that, and then he went on and beat Arteta. And then there was one more game. Oh, he beat Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea, who were at the time title contenders, I think. So he came in and he had 3 big wins in a row. And then comes in and just absolutely dismantles Pep. So everyone's calling him Carrick, the second coming of Sir Alex Ferguson right now and all this, but
Yeah,
I'm not getting
the
too carried
giant
away.
killer.
Yeah, giant killer. He seems
Those some
to,
impressive bodies he's taken. Arteta, Tuchel,
yeah, exactly.
Pep.
So he's definitely putting in a good name for himself. And so to start his tenure as interim this time, he had the match against City, and he started off by making 2 big calls by leaving out Mateus Cunha and Benjamin Sesko from the lineup. And instead, he started Patrick Dorgu at left wing and Mbumo up top. I thought that was particularly interesting because Cunha hadn't been playing that great, so I thought it was reasonable to drop him. But to drop him for Dorgu, who is people view him as like a defender or wing back, whatever you want to call him, I thought was really interesting and a big call. And then Sesko is coming off of scoring 3 goals in his last 2 matches for Manchester United. So to put him on the bench as well, I thought was a big call, but he absolutely nailed it. I thought him and his coaching staff did a great job coming into the game. And one thing that I noted was I liked how clear the game plan was. It's super simple. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. But when I saw the lineup, I immediately thought, okay, we're gonna just try and be compact, be hard to score against, and they're gonna really try and kill him on the counter because I knew Dorgu's a threat in behind, and Bumo obviously is our best threat in behind, and then Ahmad can also do well as well. So I thought he made really good decisions there. And so as the match started, Dorgu, I think, had a chance on the left-hand side, puts in a cross, gets cleared out for a corner, and then from that ensuing corner, Harry Maguire has a great look on the back post and hits the crossbar. And that kind of set the tone, I think, for United. That was like only 2-3 minutes into the match. And then we did have a nervy moment later in the half, like probably like 5 to 10 minutes later. Diogo Dallo puts in a challenge on Doku, high up on Doku's left, or I think it was his right leg. Definitely made studs to basically knee contact with him. And if he had got sent off, I could see why. I don't think there was a whole lot of intent behind it. I think it was more clumsy than anything. Like, I don't think he was even really trying to like make contact with Doku or anything like that. He got the ball and it was just his follow through was a bit reckless. And so I think that was a controversial moment from the match, but I would have hated if that ruined the match, because it'd be one thing if the match was like kind of close after that or throughout, but United were so dominant that I thought, like, regardless of what you think, if you want to hang your hat on like, oh, this would have been a completely different match if Dallo gets sent off, sure. But spiritually, I thought United, if we're talking like 11v11, I thought United were clearly the stronger team from start to finish. So those are my thoughts there. If you called it a red card, I get it, but I thought it was an orange card, if you ask me.
Yeah, it was like it was definitely a grazing touch, and if it would have been like more like into his knee, definitely could have been a red. Could have been definitely could have been, but just as a neutral, really glad it was not, because the game was a really exciting, fun watch.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
there's nothing worse than when a big game is an early red.
exactly. Like, that just would have been terrible for the game. And then if we want to talk refereeing decisions, I don't know if you saw this clip going around on social media, because they did show clips of it in the live broadcast afterwards. But there was a point where Bruno went down in the box, and I actually didn't even see what happened. But after I saw the replays of it on social media, Bernardo Silva, like, completely away from the ball, just looks like he just takes a swipe at Bruno from the back or
I didn't see
something.
it.
I don't even know what this was. Like, Bruno's just in the box and Bernardo Silva goes up behind him, and I don't it's so hard to tell what happened because you have to like zoom in and it gets a little bit blurry, so you can't see the exact action, unfortunately. But from what it looks like Bernardo Silva just basically goes to the back of Bruno's legs and like kicks at him in the box, and Bruno goes down, but it doesn't get looked at by VAR or anything like that, and I have no idea why. And it just is just the epitome of Bernardo Silva rat behavior. I feel like the sentiment around him is like, not that he was ever like that high, but I feel like so many fans are calling out just how much of a rat Bernardo Silva is recently, which I can appreciate
Big.
because I've had a dislike for him for a while.
Cannot stand him lately. He is such a rat. The other thing he did during this game was when he pushed Maguire. Maguire was
Yeah,
like going towards the out of bounds, like on the end line, and you know how steep the pitches are
Old
at Old
Trafford. Yeah.
Trafford. He pushes him hard in the back, like trying to like push him in like into the hill, which could
Hmm.
have seriously injured Maguire. Thankfully,
Yeah.
Maguire's so much bigger, and Bernardo's a tiny little guy, and Maguire grabbed him, but it was hilarious how he grabbed him, like stood him up, and like just stared him down. And
Yeah.
at that exact moment, Bernardo lost all his fight and turned away. Um,
Yeah.
but I think he was really trying like to push him into the board, and could have seriously injured Maguire. And it's just such a rat behavior by Bernardo, and he knew he had no chance in a fight against Maguire, and just turned away. It didn't say anything after that. And good on Maguire for not taking it further, because I would have been way more upset in that moment, because I think
Yeah.
his potential injury could have happened there.
I agree completely. I agree completely. I was glad I saw that little tussle. Maguire fought back a little bit. But yeah, Bernardo Silva is, I don't know, something about him ain't sitting right with me. I'm really interested to see what his career looks like after this season. If Pep goes, I could see Bernardo Silva going. I just feel like he's right on the edge of like, not his legs are gone, but he just I feel like with his size, he was able to compete when he really had the legs and athleticism, but I think that's starting to leave him a little bit. And I just don't see, like, I see a lot of City fans actually really upset with how much he's still playing for Pep right now, which is
Just
interesting.
that's what I'm saying. I don't know why he's getting picked so much. I mean, they got Cherky there, they got Semenyo, they got Foden, they got Dorgu or Doku. They got so many players that can take his position. I really don't get why he's getting selected so often.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's like Pep really likes to have like a couple guys that he
Control player.
really, really trusts to like, yeah, the
Yeah.
control players that know the system in and out that can kind of just like Bernardo Silva is someone that can pop up at like a left back, right back position or as the cam or on the wing and just kind of like wherever and
hmm
kind of know what he's supposed to do. That's my only explanation there because I don't think he's been particularly impressive this season.
No, no, not at all.
Yep. And then moving on, so that was the first half ended up 0-0. United had their chances. I think they had maybe at least one of the goals ruled off for offside. I think there was 3 goals ruled off for offside in this match. I can think of Bruno's, and then was it
Mounts.
Ahmad? Mount had one at the end, and then there was one more in between there that I think was maybe it was Ahmad or someone like that. I can't remember at this point. But good chances. Ahmad also had the chance where he hit the post off the breakaway in the second half as well, which could have been another goal. And then as far as the goals, we saw the first one from a set piece. Manchester City had a set piece, and then Maguire heads it out, and Bumo gets a flick, and the ball ends up getting to Bruno, who leads the break. We already talked about this goal, and then Mbuma ends up scoring. That one I really appreciated from a Manchester United fan perspective because it felt like vintage Manchester United, just the way that it was like a quick, fast counterattack, quick, fast, direct counterattack that was just very ruthless. I love seeing that. A lot of people have been banging on about this Manchester United DNA. We need to see that. What does it look like? What is it even? And I felt like that goal right there was definitely the embodiment of that. And it was one of those things where like what we weren't really sure, but then when I saw it, I was like, that is probably what people have been asking for and begging for, and it was really
hmm
nice to see. And then the second goal I thought was a really nice bit of like that just showed like the level of determination between the two teams. The second goal was Ahmad passes the ball to Cunha in a situation where it looks like there's not really much on. Like there's way more City players in and around the box than United, but Cunha just kind of drives the ball down the right hand side, gets maybe a half a foot of space on. I think it was Nico O'Reilly that was guarding him, and then Cunha puts a ball into the box, into the 6 yard box, and Rico Lewis just kind of fell asleep, and Dorgu definitely looked like he was second best to getting to that ball, but just tried harder, put more effort into it, and was able to sneak past Rico Lewis and put the ball into the back of the net. And so I was really happy to see that from Dorgu's perspective. One, because I'm a Dorgu owner in FPL. Um,
Huge.
but two, just because I think it's huge for his confidence. He was someone that I thought that I touted as having that I predicted would have a very good season coming into the season, and one that I thought would really kind of cement his place in the team. Granted, that was under Ruben Amorim's system, but as the season started, he looked really low on confidence. But I didn't think it was because of a lack of ability. I thought it was really like a mental thing. And then ever since Ruben Amorim actually kind of called it out in a press conference and said, I think Dorg is a little bit lacking confidence. Actually, ever since that moment, he's kind of grown slowly but surely. And over the last few matches, he's put in some of the best performances I've seen from him. Actually, probably the best performances I've seen from him in a United shirt. And this was probably the best one. He's just like so athletic. I don't know how to like describe what his game is because it doesn't look super polished or super clean. I don't think, but it is very effective. I've noticed, and also he draws more fouls than I think literally anyone besides like maybe Grealish in the
Yeah,
league.
well, I didn't know.
Um, yeah, his ability to draw fouls. Honestly, I kind of dislike it sometimes because I'm like, just keep the break going instead of
hmm
drawing a foul. But whatever, neither here nor there. Uh, but those were the 2 goals. Like I said, 2-0. Don't really have too many thoughts here from the game other than great team performance. It felt like the Manchester United DNA was back, especially that first goal. As far as individual performances, we've already talked about Bruno and how good he was. We already talked about Kabi Menu. Really good to see him back, and I love seeing him thrive in the middle of the park, and I think we're going to see a lot more of him. I talked about Dorgu. I want to give an honorable mention to Casemiro, who I thought was really, really good in this game as well. Actually, there was one moment where it looked like City might actually have a chance at getting a decent look at goal, and Casemiro kind of puts in this last-ditch tackle that a lot of the time ends up in him getting a yellow card, but it actually he plucked the ball off of like I think it was like Holland or something like that, right around our box. I thought he played incredible, and then Harry Maguire also I think he deserves a shout out. What he did might not look that impressive, but he's been injured out with both a hamstring, I think it was a groin and a calf injury for the last like month and a half, 2 months or something like that, maybe even more. And that was his first start in the league since then. And so for him to come back off of an injury and put in that kind of performance, I thought was incredibly impressive as well. And he deserves credit because that's no easy task. And then the last performance I wanted to call out as an individual was Lissandro Martinez. All the stuff with Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes this week in the lead up, I thought, what a way to respond by Lissandro. I mean, we don't need to get too into it, but Paul Scholes and Nicky Butt basically were on their podcast joking around, talking about, well, one, they started off by previewing the Manchester Derby and talking about, oh, do you think United can win? And they were saying, no, we don't think United can win. And they specifically cited the defenders. And when they cited the defenders, they said, like Lissandro Martinez versus Erling Haaland, they scoffed at the idea and basically made jokes about how Erling Haaland will pick Lissandro Martinez up and run with him, pick him up like he's a toddler. Paul Scholes said Haaland will score and then take Lissandro Martinez and throw him into the net as well, and like all this stuff. And it was like, I don't know. I just thought it was in really bad taste, some of the stuff that they were saying. Like, it's one thing to make some jokes and like have a little bit of banter, but it just wasn't even like that's the kind of jokes I feel like people make in like middle school. Like it wasn't like any sort of elevated, mature banter to it. It was just like they were just simply making fun of him for being short. But then it's one thing to do that, but then if you look at Lissandro Martinez's actual record versus Erling Haaland prior to this match, even it is 5 games, and Lissandro Martinez has won 3 of them, drawn 1, and lost 1. And that's only in a Manchester United shirt. I think he also had a win against Erling Haaland when he was at Ajax as well. And Erling Haaland has only scored in one of the matches out of like 6 or 7 that he's played against Lissandro Martinez. So Lissandro Martinez actually has a very good record. So to like go out on your podcast and say all that stuff about him, but then with the record that he has against Haaland, I just thought it was like a really bad situation. And for Lissandro Martinez to respond like that, I just love to see. So that's why I really want to shout out his performance as well.
Yeah, I get into him. I feel like I haven't heard Paul Scholes really ever make that much of like an educated take. Every time I listen to him talk, he just sounds pretty disinterested at being wherever he is on set, and then 2, his takes are never very interesting or educated.
Yeah, I feel like maybe he's just like a kind of awkward guy, like not that like
Definitely is that too.
whatever. Like I just feel like not that maybe not that socially aware. I don't know if like he kind of comes off like as an asshole, and I'm like, I don't know
Definitely.
if like I don't know like if you're genuinely just an asshole or like you just don't have like the social emotional intelligence or something like that. But like even him and Nikki Butt's apology on their podcast, I listened to their response, and both of them were just kind of like not very apologetic at all. Like they said, I mean, good on him, like he did his job, like good performance from the boys, I'm happy to see it, but then didn't really apologize for what they say. They just basically said, you know, that's the life of a Manchester United player. Like, you're going to get criticized. You're going to get criticism. Like, you just deal with it. Like, we got criticized by so-and-so person when we were at United. Like, we didn't respond in the media, stuff like that. But I also think it's a completely different era, in the era of social media and the way that stuff gets taken. Like, it just is a different level of attention that you're bringing to these players by saying that kind of stuff. And then Paul Scholes' apology was like, he said, we probably could have worded this better, but then followed it up with like a but and saying like all this stuff. Nicky Butt was like, he said to come to his house, he said, I'm a 55-year-old man. I'm not going to anybody's house to apologize, yada, yada, yada. And they just kind of kept talking around it without actually really directly addressing what they said. And I don't know. It's caused a lot of stir in the United fan world, but don't need to get
Yeah,
too deep into that.
my perspective from not really listening to them or knowing much about those 2 players in this, like where they are right now, but they both seem like assholes, and Like they're just kind of behind the times and kind of living in that
Yeah,
old era
exactly.
and haven't gotten with that at all and refuse like, oh, we play United, we're better than that. Like we're gonna like we're still like games gone type of guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I feel
And that's
like
just
they
like
definitely
not
just
what
seem
social media like this era is about.
exactly. I feel like they just epitomize old head energy. Like
Yeah,
I don't care about like United legends. Like people talk about United legends criticizing the team. I don't care if you criticize the team or specific players. Like it's okay. Like that's just the nature of the game. I understand you're getting paid to talk about United and controversy and negativity can sell, but just like at least make it somewhat based in like a little bit of logic or a little bit of like maturity. Like they just completely missed it on all fronts. Like Roy Keane, he'll be critical, but I enjoy listening to Roy Keane talk. Like he
hmm
will keep it real and like he'll be harsh, but like he's at least consistent. Like I just feel like they completely dropped the ball. So um let's move on. Last couple of things I'll say on this match. Really encouraging from a Manchester United perspective because I thought it was the most complete performance as far as like defensively solid, attacking. We looked great, and just kind of doing all the little things correct. One of the most complete performances I've seen in the Sir Alex Ferguson era. I thought that another one that sticks out to me was Eric Ten Hag versus Spurs a couple years ago. But other than that, there's not many that I could really put up there, which is a great sign. But I'm trying not to get carried away with this yet. Still a lot of season to go. We've got Arsenal next, which I think is going to be a very similar match to Manchester City, hopefully,
agreed.
in terms of style and stuff.
Yep. Yep.
Looking ahead for Manchester United, Arsenal is next, but I'm not really going to read too much into that match, even though it would be nice to see us put up a good performance against you guys. Real test for me and for Michael Carrick and the team, and how much I believe in them in the second half of the season is going to be how we play against teams like Fulham, Palace, Spurs, West Ham, and Everton in the games where we're going to be expected to have more of the ball and take the game to the other team. We can't just sit back and hit teams on the counter. I think how Michael Carrick can coach those teams and the types of lineups that he puts out for that will really show what kind of level of success we can have. But as far as like looking at the table, like I do feel good that like somewhere like top 5 to 6 is still on. And that would be really good finish for United. Like coming into the season, I was happy with anything that was going to be between like maybe 5th to 7th, 8th place. And right now I'm feeling more likely like it'll be more of like a 5th, 6th, maybe 7th, depending on how the results pan out. But just looking at the teams in and around us, Liverpool, I think could kick on. I'm interested to see what they look like with Mo Salah being back. I'm not
Yep.
sold by them. Like I don't think they're absolutely blowing me away. But
I
we'll
mean, yeah, they
see.
they just drew against Burnley at home.
Yeah, they just drew Burnley at home, but Mo Salah is back, and they looked pretty good against Marseille in the Champions League today,
Yep.
prior to recording. So I'll give them credit there.
I mean, hey, Spurs
And
are
then
also in top five in Champions League. If that says
you're right,
anything, so
that's fair. So maybe we shouldn't read too much into that at all.
yeah.
Um, and then Chelsea are right behind United. They seem to have hit decent form under their new manager.
Yeah.
But I watched them, and I don't think they're as good as their form has shown. I think they've been a little bit fortunate. Even against Brentford, I thought Brentford easily could have beat Chelsea. I think Brentford beat themselves. Their first goal that they gave up to Chelsea, I
Oh
cannot remember
yeah.
how it happened now.
Enzo blocked a clearance basically, and it fell to Yao
Oh
Pedro.
yeah, exactly. Coyote tried to clear the ball in a dangerous area poorly, and it just falls to João Pedro, who also was almost
Finished
offside and
well.
finished well. But that was
Yep.
1-0. And then the second goal was just Brentford messing
A
around in
pen.
the back and giving the ball away. And then Kelleher had to foul whoever it was, Liam Delap, and they got a pen, and that was 2-0.
hmm
And I actually thought Brentford created way better chances than Chelsea in that match. Like I thought Kevin Schade straight up looked like he was match fixing, bro. I don't know what he was doing in
I
that
know.
match.
Don't know how he scored some of those
Like
chances.
so, we'll see. The jury's still out on them, as far as like how good I think they'll be in the second half of the season. Like, granted, still a new manager, still trying to figure out what he wants, but I see potential frailties in Chelsea. Brentford are a great team, but can they keep up with the team of the quality of players that United have? I don't know. We'll see. Newcastle also seem a little bit shaky, even though they're sitting right there in eighth. And then the other teams are Sunderland, who I don't expect to kick on well enough to challenge us, Everton, and then you get to the bottom half of the table there. So I think there's starting to become a little bit of a gap between the teams that are going to finish like top 5, 6, 7, and then the rest of the league. So I think it's looking decent for United, but we shall see.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
No,
that's all I had.
yeah, just completely agree with how you look against those lesser teams is going to really determine um, how good Carrick is. Because against Arsenal, we can say we jump into the preview, but I expect you guys to play in the exact same way, basically the exact same lineup, if not like one or two small changes. But yeah, you're going to do the same way, try and counter. But yeah, will you be able to break down those teams will be the question.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know. I'm really intrigued to see how this is going to go for Manchester United because if Carrick keeps crushing it,
Mm-hmm.
does it get to the summer? Like if he gets his top four, like beats out Liverpool, beats out Chelsea, do you give him the permanent job, or is that just repeating what happened with Ole? Like, is this just a fluke, or has he earned the right to like then take the permanent job? Especially with all those managers that are going to be available in the summer, like we're going to have managers like Tuchel who's coming off of a World Cup. And I don't think we'll get Ancelotti, but Ancelotti, Nagelsmann, another international coach that's going to probably have at least be looking after the World Cup. And then not to mention coaches that are currently under contract now that won't be at the end of the season. I hope we don't go for Glasner. I really don't. I guess we didn't really talk about Oliver Glasner and what's going on with Crystal Palace right now.
Oh yeah,
That's been a
it's a
little bit
mess.
crazy. He did like his press conference the other day was very, very honest. It almost sounded like he was trying to pull a Maresca and Amram and talk about the board failing the team and stuff like that, get himself fired early. But yeah,
Yeah, he's taking notes.
he is. He is.
Yeah, I think it
But
would be
yeah,
a bad. I think it would be bad. I think there's too many good coaches and too good of opportunity this summer to not hire someone new, like a really high caliber coach.
yeah,
I think this is why you fire Amarim, other than him making Ineos fire him. But you go into this summer window looking for with all those opportunities to sign like a super high caliber coach. So I think it
yeah,
would be a mistake to keep Carrick, even if he does see you as top four, just because
yeah.
long term, I don't see him being able to have the philosophies and to really kick on and go win a title for United.
Yeah, so we'll see. We shall see. I'm not really sure what to think, but let's jump into. We can do a little bit more of previewing Arsenal versus Manchester United here.
Hmm.
Um, do you have? I mean, I guess you kind of gave your initial thoughts on the game. You think it'll probably be pretty similar to the City matchup?
I mean, I think so. Definitely, I expect United to go out in their exact same formation, the exact same lineup. Maybe someone else for Dorgu, even though Dorgu was super good and deserves to get the start again. But like that's one place I could see someone like a lineup change. But I expect Bormo and Bruno start again. Ahmad looked great, so I think he starts again. And then, so I don't think the United lineup is just as much of a conversation as the Arsenal lineup is.
Yeah,
But what are your thoughts on the United lineup? Do you think there are going to be any changes?
yeah. I don't know. That's a really tough one. I feel like after that performance, it's really hard to make that change, especially given how well we played and the fact that it's probably going to be a similar setup where Arsenal is
Exactly.
going to look to kind of take the game to us, and we're going to want to sit back a little bit more. I would be totally happy rolling out the same lineup. I think if anything, if anything, it would be Cunha coming back into the team at left wing instead of Dorgu, but I don't think Dorgu gets benched. I think Dorgu
Yeah.
still plays left
Instead of
back instead of
Shaw
Luke Shaw.
to try and against
Yeah,
Saka.
because yeah, against Saka, like I think well, Luke Shaw, I think will do is probably more experienced and might do a better job defensively against Saka. It's just going forward, we don't have anyone that can hold with on the left
Hmm.
except for Dorgu. So in this game, Dorgu was still able to kind of be that guy holding with on the left, even at the left wing position. And then in the cup match against Brighton before that, Dorgu played left back and was holding width from left back because Cunha was playing left wing, and Cunha's not going to hold width. So I think that's like the awkward balance that we have to try and figure out. That's why I think we'll probably just go with the same lineup, because we're probably going to want Luke Shaw to match up against Saka and kind of bring that more experience in that matchup. But then we don't want to ruin the team dynamics by not having anyone to get up and down and be a threat in behind off the left, which is exactly what Dorgu brings. So I think that's probably what we're going to end up doing. But who knows?
That's what I'm expecting too.
Yeah. I'm really interested to see our ideal lineup, because with the way Dorgu's playing, I feel like we need him in the team. So maybe we go with the same lineup against you guys, and then in future games, maybe Luke Shaw drops out of the team when we don't have to be as defensively sound. Because Dorgu, I feel like, is kind of making himself feel a little bit essential to me.
Yeah.
Maybe that's my bias with him being in my FPL team and him wanting him to stay relevant, but that's how I feel.
Yeah, no, that's fair. He's been playing great recently.
Yeah. What about Arsenal? What do you think?
So I think we're gonna have a lot of possession. I think you guys are gonna sit back, like you talked about. So I think we're really gonna push up high and have a lot of possession. So in that type of game, like I talked about with the Forest game, I definitely want Saka to start. Saka started in the midweek on Tuesday against Inter, but I'm assuming Arteta would only start him knowing he could start him against United, because I feel like this is a big
Yeah.
game for us. We really need to win after 2 draws in a row. United are a big rival for us, so if we don't get a win here, if we end up losing this at home too, we have to get a win here. So I definitely expect Saka to start on the right. I really want to see Tross start on the left because we're going to have more with that possession. Want more of a finisher in the team because we need to score some goals. And then I really want Jesus to start over Gyökeres. Jesus has been really impressive lately, so I'm hoping Jesus gets a start up top over Gyökeres.
Yeah. Yeah. Jesus had 2 goals against Inter, right? Midweek.
And
Yeah.
Gyökeres scored too.
You're right. But I agree with you. I hope Gyökeres starts. I
Yeah.
do, because I think that would play right into our hands.
Yes, especially
But
McGuire can handle
yeah,
Gyökeres really well.
exactly. Exactly. So I think that would play right into our hands, but we shall see. I don't really know what to think. Is Havertz healthy enough to play? Like, could he start by any chance?
No, he hasn't even subbed on yet. Um,
Okay.
oh no, he subbed on in the League Cup game like
Cup
2 weeks
against
ago.
Chelsea or something.
I don't I don't think it was even Chelsea because that was a pretty close game. I think it
Was it
was
the FA
the
Cup
FA
game?
Cup, I believe. So Havertz won't start, and it's just Jesus for Gyökeres, and I really hope. I mean, we could do Marino, but we haven't been playing Marino up top lately. So I expect and hope Jesus to start. Midfield three, Rice, Zubimendi, and probably Odegaard. Odegaard's been a little bit off it. Hasn't He was really good like 2 weeks ago. Then like against
Hmm.
Forest, didn't really do too much. But I expect Odegaard to start because Eze's been getting almost no minutes lately.
Yeah.
So midfield should be Rice, Zubimendi, Odegaard, and then back four. I don't know what Calafiori's health status is, but he hasn't been playing. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming he's still out. So I expect it to be Timber left back, Gabriel Saliba, White right back again.
Yeah.
I don't love Timber at left back. I think he's a lot more effective at right back.
Hmm.
And I think we're really missing Calafiori, honestly, because
Yeah.
our outside backs come in and our wingers hold more of the width, and Timber is just not nearly as effective on the left side for one, and the Calafiori is just such an attacking threat.
Yeah.
And so dynamic and has a good shot and just really gets in the box a lot more and so threatening. So I think we're really missing Calafiori, honestly, recently. But so
Yeah.
I expect Timber left, White right, just because what we've been playing recently. I don't expect Lewis Skelly to start, just because he hasn't been trusted too much. But honestly, I wouldn't mind Lewis Skelly starting at left back so you can play Timber right back.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Mod versus Lewis Skelly might get a little scary if we can get a run at him. But
Actually, yeah, think about that. Never mind. I want Timber because Lewis Skelly's not been too solid lately. I was thinking just like with possession, Lewis Skelly is good in like the attacking bits. He can kind of make that turn, play that incisive pass pretty well. But no, yeah, I want someone more solid. Don't want any mistakes this game, especially on the
Yeah,
counter. And
yeah, because I
Ahmad's looking
think
really good lately.
yeah, it looks like our front four could be really ruthless as far as on the counter. So you probably want people that are going to be at least positionally aware. Not that I think Lewis Skelly's actually a good player still. I think he could just maybe get found out a little bit
Yeah,
if
his
he's got to
confidence hasn't
take
quite
guard a
been
lot of
there.
space.
Yeah, he's been prone to mistake this year.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing I thought about as you were talking was the set pieces. Like, I wonder if maybe Sesko plays just to get a little bit more size and physicality in the box when it comes
Hmm.
to set pieces, especially trying to defend you guys. That would be my only thought, maybe why he might play, but I just don't know who he would play over. Like, I really am so interested to see United like post this Arsenal match because I'm not sure what our best lineup is or if we're gonna have a best 11 or if it really is just going to be so matchup dependent because we've got four players that can start in those front three positions between the left wing, striker, and right wing with Cunha and Bumo, Ahmad, and Sesko. And so I'm really interested to see how they kind of find that balance there.
Hmm.
Because I
Hmm.
mean, I feel like we need a true winger in this, and our only true winger, like someone that can like beat their man one on one like that, is really just Ahmad. So Ahmad actually, for me, feels the most nailed out of all three of those guys, surprisingly.
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
is funny that we bought three new attackers and none
yeah.
of them feel like the ones that are going to be nailed.
And your previous right wing back is now playing winger and the most nailed.
Mhm, exactly. So I don't really know what to think there, but going to be very interesting.
Yeah, looking
Um,
up Calafiori, look, he's close. Arteta said he felt something awkward, which is before the Inter game. So I
mhm.
really hope Arteta's playing mind games and he'll be back for United because that would be huge
Yeah,
for us to have Calafiori
yeah.
back. But who knows?
Yeah, that would be big. That would be big.
All right.
Um,
Anything else you want to talk about? Or just do predictions for this game and then jump into the predictions for take our winning our game rate predictions after that.
yeah, let's do predictions for this game and then the rest of the
Okay.
game week 23.
All right.
I will start. So Arsenal versus United at the Emirates. Red hot Manchester United after one win.
Hmm.
And then Arsenal's got a draw in the league, but they did, just beat Inter Milan. I,
It's
hmm,
Red Heart United after one win, stumbling Arsenal, top of the league, 7 points clear. That's the headline I
yeah,
think people would be talking about, right? That's kind of like
exactly.
that is kind of the sentiment, honestly.
Oh, this is a really tough one. I want to say, let's go. It's going to be a 1-1 game for
Mm.
like the whole match. But then at the end, maybe one team sneaks a late winner in just for the drama. And I'm going to say that team is United.
All right, so 2-1 United.
2-1 United, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going 2-1 Arsenal. So I think it's also going to be tight and cagey. I think we are going to get hit on the counter once. You guys are going to score. Don't know who it's going to be, but Bruno's going to have another good game, I expect. I just expect you guys to get so many fewer chances because City turned the ball
Yeah.
over so much. Their midfield is weak. It's super soft, can't run through. We have a much more robust midfield. We turn the ball over less. We have much more capable defenders.
Yeah.
But I do expect you guys to get a goal. I can see that happening. So I'm going to go 2-1 to Arsenal, though,
Sure. Yeah.
with
I can
just like
appreciate
much
that.
fewer chances.
Yeah. I feel like we're going to be built for transitions and we're going to be very dangerous in transitions just based on the quality that we have up top. But you guys are also built to like snuff out transitions between having Gabriel, Saliba back there,
Mm.
Rice, Zubamendi, even. Like, I think you guys are going to do much better at controlling that and
And
limiting
we're
that.
and we're a lot more like risk averse in big games.
Yes.
So Arteta knows not to give up those opportunities.
Yeah, so I could see kind of like if Arsenal scored two goals, I could see it being kind of like a you guys kind of have us hemmed in under pressure. Ball kind of bounces around, falls to someone near the top of the box, puts it away, and then maybe like just a set piece goal for, just for good time's sake or old time's sake
Hmm.
for
Yeah.
Arsenal. And then for United, I could see maybe like you said, one transitional goal just because I feel like we've got enough quality to like get one of those through with Bruno Fernandez playing a good game. And then a
Hmm.
second United goal. I don't know. Maybe I'm feeling like a penalty, some type of like
Mm,
hit you in transition. Arsenal trying to recover penalty in the box from Ahmad dribbling at whoever your left back is at the time.
mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I'm feeling a Bukayo Saka goal. Feeling a Gabriel or a set piece goal from Gabriel to start. An Ahmad transition goal, and then a Bukayo Saka winner.
Sure. All right. I like those shouts. We shall see. I'm excited
We
for it
shall.
though. Like
Me too.
most
I'm
excited
pumped
I've
for this
been
game.
for a game in a while.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Really looking forward to this one. And Sunday, 11:30 should be DC should be covered in snow. No reason to go anywhere. It's gonna get cozy on the couch and watch a great game.
Nice. Nice. All right. You want to talk about the rest of the games now?
Yeah, let's do it. I tallied up the scores in the last two predictions. I'm up
Nice. Oh
59 to
wow.
54. We're gonna go first. There were like the two predictions ago. It was all the way back on game week 17 because we took that
Uh-huh.
break over Christmas. I outscored you like 8 to 4 or something. So that's when I
Wow.
gained a bit of a lead.
Nice.
So yeah, I will go first this one.
So let's start from the top. Game week 23 predictions. First match of the week is going to be West Ham hosting Sunderland.
I'm gonna go with a draw.
All right. And then we've got Fulham Brighton.
This is a pretty tough one. We're gonna Fulham mostly because they're at home, even though they just lost to Everton, who have not
Yeah.
been looking great either.
Yep. All right. Burnley Spurs.
Spurs away, so I'm gonna go with Spurs. You know they've been looking dreadful lately, but they're away
Yeah.
and they're playing Burnley, so I think they get a win here.
Sure. City versus Wolves.
I'm gonna pick City here. They're at home playing Wolves, who've been bad this year, but looking a little bit better. But hoping my FPL triple up from City attack reward me with a bunch of goals. So picking City.
Yeah, I hope so too. Bournemouth versus Liverpool. Last game on Saturday.
I'm gonna go with a draw.
Yeah.
Liverpool, they just drew Burnley. Mo Salah's back, but they're away. Bournemouth actually been looking really bad lately, so should probably go Liverpool, but I put down draw, so I'm gonna stick with that.
All right. Palace versus Chelsea.
Gonna go Chelsea here. Palace has been looking pretty rough lately. Man, like
Yep.
everything's going on with Glasner, so Chelsea.
Yep. Newcastle versus Villa.
This is a really tough one to pick. I think neither team is looking that great. I guess Newcastle having some okay results. Villa just drew. Just drew. No, just lost. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
draw though. I don't really. It has
Okay.
to be low scoring. Hoping Morgan Rogers scores. Got him an FPL. Don't really know what to do with
Yeah.
him, but gonna go draw here.
Okay. And then we got Brentford versus Forest.
Brentford at home.
Nice. And then we just talked about United or Arsenal hosting
Yep.
United.
Yep. Arsenal 2-1.
All right. And then last game of the week on Mondays, Everton versus Leeds.
Gonna go draw here. Leeds has been looking really good. Everton got a good result, so we can go draw.
All right. Fair enough.
I think that'll be a
Sounds like some
very
solid
even
picks.
matchup. Interesting game.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I'm interested to see what Everton looks like with I think Njai should be coming back into the team, but
Oh, that's huge.
Jack Grealish also just got a stress fracture in his foot, I think.
Mm,
So he I think is going to be out for a little bit. So as soon as they get a little bit of a boost, they're losing someone else, but they'll get Idris Gana guy back as well.
I think they were really hurting by not having Jai.
Yeah, I agree.
All right,
All
you
right,
ready?
I'm ready to go.
All right, West Ham versus Sunderland.
Okay. I think I'm going to go with a draw here. I think
Yep.
West Ham have been playing better, even though I think Sunderland are a better team.
Mm-hmm. Fulham versus Brentford.
Um, I'm gonna go with Fulham in this one. I don't know.
Or
Brighton.
sorry, Brighton. That's the wrong
Yeah.
thing. Brighton.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Fulham just because Fulham are at home.
Okay. Burnley versus Tottenham.
Gonna go with Tottenham here, but I almost want to go with the draw, but I'm gonna go with Tottenham.
Mm-hmm. City versus Wolves.
I was really tempted to take the draw here. I really am,
Mm-hmm.
but I think after that embarrassing result against Bodo Glimt in the midweek, I think City are going to really want to respond big time, especially at home in front of their home fans after what just happened. So I'm going to go City.
Yep. And then Palace versus Chelsea.
Um, Palace versus Chelsea. Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm gonna go with. Oh, I'm gonna go with the draw. I think
Nice.
Palace are gonna rally around each other, and I think Chelsea are a bit fraudulent right now, and I think that's gonna come out to play here.
Okay, I can see that happening for sure. Bournemouth versus Liverpool.
I'm gonna go Liverpool. I think they'll put on a better performance, and I think Bournemouth are just a little bit shaky recently, and they also just lost Tavernier. I think he just got a hamstring injury, who was their de facto best player after Cliver went down with an injury and Semenyo got transferred out, and now Tavernier is out, so we'll see.
Time for Krupi to step up.
Yeah, right.
Newcastle versus
Um,
Villa.
Give me Newcastle. Villa are
Yeah,
frauds. Newcastle at home.
nice. Brentford versus Forest.
Um, I'm gonna take Brentford at home. They seem to be creating chances for fun. They're like a
Hmm.
sneaky, very very good team. Shout out to Keith Andrews.
Yeah, they're like in like seventh place too. They're way up the table.
Yeah,
And then Arsenal United. Talk about this one.
yeah. Give me United in that one.
And then Everton Leeds.
That's a really interesting one. Not really sure what to think. I'm gonna go draw, just because I
Okay.
really can't put anything between them.
Yeah, it's a Monday too. I could see it being a low scoring draw.
Yeah. All right. Let me just finish putting in my predictions here. Brentford United, and then let me put in a draw. Okay. All right. That is it for the game week 23 predictions. Do you have anything else you want to touch on in this episode before we sign off? I know there's probably a good bit of FPL stuff going on. I really don't know what I'm doing with my team. I feel like I'm at a bit of a loss, but what about you?
Yeah. Played my bench boost. Got 9 points from that. Pretty underwhelming. At least Dubravka came up with a 5 pointer for me, so that was huge. But Krupi only got 2 points. Made a terrible decision of backing a Spurs defender. Van de Ven got me 0, and then Chris Richards got me 2. Um, yeah, I mean, it's whatever. But I just really don't like my City triple up because
Yeah.
Turkey didn't start, but Foden did. And then Turkey came off of Foden, and they each got me 1 point. Saka didn't start either. So from those three, I got like a 1 pointer from Saka, Foden, and Turkey, which is abysmal.
Yeah.
So I really just don't know what to do with my City midfielders because they got Wolves at home. So I want to hold them for that game, but I'm just
Yeah.
really not sure about Turkey. That's my biggest dilemma because he played full 90 on Tuesday, and
Hmm.
Semenyo can't play in the Champions League right now. So I feel like Semenyo's guaranteed to start that game, and Turkey's going to be on the bench.
Yeah.
But if he does start, it's a great fixture. So that's my dilemma at the moment. And then I'm deciding who to start between Lewis Hall, who's been great for me
Yeah.
at home, to Villa with the tougher fixture, than Van de Ven away. Those are my two dilemmas at the moment because Tottenham have Burnley, but it's Tottenham. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
Newcastle have a tough game, but Lewis Hall's been looking great if he's due a goal.
Yeah.
So maybe I just start Van de Ven over Turkey and roll because I would like to roll with the three transfers to make a couple moves, get in Bruno after this game, maybe move
Hmm.
Saka down to Rice, maybe probably take out Foden as well, get rid of Turkey. So I'd like to do.
Hmm.
I'd like to roll this week.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I think all those plans sound solid. Um, yeah, the city guys are also giving me a bit of a headache as well. I'm not tripled up on their attack. I've got O'Reilly instead of Turkey um in our team or my team instead of your team.
He's been
But
abysmal.
yeah, I don't know what to think, man. I really don't know what to do with them. Like I have so many. I want to get rid of a city player because I feel like, but I don't know which one to get rid of because I feel like O'Reilly, if he plays against Wolves, is good. So I feel like you can't really get rid of any of them ahead of the Wolves match. You just kind of
No,
gotta hope that
no.
you would come out on the right side of that.
Hmm.
I guess looking at my team and what I did last week, I felt I had a pretty good week actually.
You had a great week.
Especially, well, I guess I actually was the top
You
scorer in our main
flew.
league, huh?
Yeah, you flew.
um, yeah, because I went on. Oh, I guess I made a big call. I woke up early for the deadline, and I made a big call in the morning. I had Minte rotting away on my team, absolutely just being a menace for so long, and I finally made the.
We lost Tochi there. He was talking about how he made the great call of starting Dorgu over Chris Richards, netted him plus 13. I know that would have been a brutal hit both for FPL and for the mental to not back his own player after he scored and got a clean sheet against City. But that's all. Thanks for listening. Talked a lot about City United. Really looking forward to the Arsenal United game coming up this weekend. Please like, comment, subscribe, share with everyone, and thanks for tuning in, everyone.